You look pretty, Keith. I can't hear you.
No, I said not a chance. Do I look pretty good?
Well, you were trying. You were prepping there a little bit. I saw
Well,
you.
I just look at
You know, hey, listen,
I just got out of the shower.
I got it. I got it. You look a lot better in our game we play right now. So, oh,
Lord.
oh, oh well. Yeah, that's me. Appreciate it, Mark. What you got for me?
Well, what's the state of the union, Coach? Talk a little bit about. I know things got a little bit better the other night in the second half. Just again, a slow start and trying to get the confidence back. That's the biggest problem.
Well, we're 0-5, so you know anytime you go 0-5 in the last 5 games, confidence becomes starting to erode a little bit. But you know, like I've said before, and you got to have a memory of a goldfish. It's over. So now we're 0-0, and we're going to take on North Texas. So my state of mind, I hope that I can help our young people if they question what's going on or losing their confidence. I hope that I can bring the will to forget and move forward and get better. And that's the way I'm going to approach this practice. And I think knowing the young people we have here, that's the way they'll come to.
Dean, any status update on Gorin and Darius George? I know obviously they were out Saturday. Is it a situation where they're going to be back and available to practice this week, or are they out a little bit longer?
Well, you know, and one just mentioned too, Andy did not practice with us all week either prior to this game. So he was coming in just flush, not being at all with us at all. And then we didn't have Gorin and George. I think George will be ready. I haven't talked to him today, but he is released to play with us. It depends on how he feels. So I'm expecting him today at practice. If that happens, nothing else occurs, he should be available. Gorin, not so. He's not going to be able to practice today. I think it got pushed back another day, test-wise, pushed him back another day. I would say it's kind of iffy whether he's going to be available or not on Thursday. So, you know, we went into that Florida Atlantic game without 3 starters. It's difficult to do that. When I say 3 starters, you had George and Gorin, and then the third starter, Andy, who didn't practice with us. So we went all week without 3 of our starters, and we were down to like 10 people playing. You know, it's difficult, but at the same time, we've got to up our game to win some games.
And just to clarify, Andy was a last-minute thing on Saturday, right? Because on Thursday it sounded like he wasn't going to be available.
No, they cleared him Saturday morning at about 11 o'clock. So he had no clue up until that time.
What can you tell us about North Texas? What's your early impression? What are they about?
Play very hard. I think if you want to summarize them, play extremely hard. 3 little guards on the outside, very similar team to Florida Atlantic. Big, workable big guy on the inside that runs up and down and sets picks and stays within his role. 3 guards that can shoot threes around 33 to 35%, and a 6'6" kid who will try to muscle you down. He's built pretty strong and scores 11 points, 12 points a ball game. And, a very capable team, but if you're going to describe them, I'd say they used to winning and they want to win again. And a little bit like us, really, when we lost John and CJ, which most teams that lose players like that, who, all-time history Marshall scores. We came back that next year, and we started out slow, but I think, in fact, we were in the same position, 7 and 8, that year. And then we won the next 9 out of 11, and then beat Texas El Paso before they called it off. We were playing back at the level where John and CJ were, And this year, we lost Jared and Jansen. We're 7-11 and two main figures of where we were. So I got my fingers crossed that maybe something will turn like it did that year.
Dan, when you look at the second half, especially against FAU on Saturday, how close were you all to getting that thing turned around on Saturday, in your opinion, after you saw it on film?
Well, after watching the film, I just to give you just a kind of a recap of what I saw. One, our zone defense wasn't bad. It wasn't. It did okay. So we're probably going to carry that forward some in different ways, but could be big ways. You get Gorin back, I think it even gets better because you're bigger. And the bigger I think you are in the zone, longer you are, the better the zone is. I don't like playing the zone with little guys, but with big guys, you can play. Mike's year, for instance, they played zone, but they had Mike as a point, which was then a big point because he reached about 6'11". And you had Orsini at 6'4", Randy Knowles 6'9", I think Barry Driscoll 6'8", big kid. Tyrone Collins at 6'4", a lot like David Early's real strong. So I don't mind playing zones with the big guys. I think if when Gorin gets back, it'll be better. Defensively, go back and forth as to whether we want to push down, switch all fives, switch 1 through 4. You know, we're trying to find what's best fits this team. And not what we've done in the past, but what best fits this team. And it's been difficult because there's a little positive and negative in everything that we're doing. We haven't made anything clear, this is it. And then I look at our defense and wonder, is our defense really not the problem? It's our offense. And I don't know that defense affects offense, but I know offense does affect defense negatively. So if our offense gets cleaned up, and basically it's efficiency from, we got to get Andy like he was last year at the end of the year. We got to get Tavion back to being efficient in how he plays. We read over and we went back over all the games with Jansen and Jared, and that was a lot of firepower we lost for this crowd, and we didn't realize how much. So we have to adapt our game a little bit. We're working on it. And, you know, if it works out that it's right, then maybe we'll turn it and go 9-11 for the last games as we go down through the conference.
Dave, looking at that same angle, do you look at it now and say, was Andy more comfortable as a 2? Was Tavion more comfortable as a 3? I know that's all the machinations you go through to try to find a combination. Is that part of your business?
Yeah, I had all day Sunday thinking about it. Missed some good football games and just laid there like a lump. But, I'm not going to stay down very long. And I do think that if I didn't want to lay down like a lump yesterday with us not practicing, I need to get out of coaching. It doesn't mean enough. It still means a lot to me. So I feel like I'm good. That's good. That's good that I laid there. It's good that I'm up now with a goldfish mentality, ready to go and play this next game. And how we play David. You know, do we use David as a backup point and then rest Tavion and Andy? Do we put him out there with them and then really don't have anybody that's quite ready? Kyle's a little too young yet, but got a good future, but a little too young yet to get into this type of battle. Then we are limited as to when we can take David or Andy or Tavion out. So right now I'm on the mindset that we're going to use David to spell those two, get him some good time with them as we set them. I need to get them a little bit more time out of the game. We've got eventually, you got to look on down the road, maybe not this game, but and when you're planning ahead, that Gorin will be back, how we're going to play with Gorin or Michael or Gorin or Bina at the 4. Wade Bina's shooting now. Can he be a 3? And put him out there and space the floor for us. People are going to guard him different after watching this last film. I feel pretty good. So that might open the middle up for us, let Andy and Tavion get up in there. But bottom line is we got to get a better rhythm for our offense so that we're scoring. And then we got to get a swagger, you know. It's hard to do when you've lost 5 straight. It's hard to get your swagger back. But without that, bad things happen. It's like, you know, when you see a wounded animal, the predators, they're out after you, you know, and they're going to maximize all 50-50 things, or just like last night, the kid drives in there, falls down, right when we're making a comeback, throws it up, banks it in on us, you know, or we'll go down and we called up and we make a silly foul. These are things that, to me, is learning how to win. We've lost that mojo, and we got to get it back so we can get a little swagger. And that the opponent's got to look over and see an animal running full speed, not one that's limping. So we've got to shore up our game offensively and see if we can't bring some excitement back here to Marshall.
Coach, when you look at Chase and, you know, what he brought to the table the other night, it did feel like there was a lot of energy out of him. No, obviously some young mistakes, his first start, things like that. But overall, what did you see that can help you all move forward?
Well, he didn't look out of place, number one, as a freshman. He's had very limited playing time coming into this game, and you start him. He didn't look out of place. He looked like he felt like he belonged, which is a good thing. So he had the speed and the athleticism. Needs to get stronger, obviously. Keeps working on his shot. Needs to keep working on his shot. But he has a sense for the game. He understands the game, and he's had a history through his dad and everything of being around basketball for a long time. So looking for good things. He's got to get stronger, got to work on his shot a little bit. But through this season, just getting out there, getting experienced, he had a couple good drives. He had a nice dunk, nice pass. And defensively, outside of, you know, he's pretty good. He can guard 1 through 5. He's quick, rebounded pretty decent. Had that one bad turnover, dribbling down right in a crucial time toward the end. But again, that's a fresh mistake, and I think as he goes through and gets more playing time, he will eliminate that. And then, you know, we're also missing Wyatt Fricks, who preseason was playing, probably was one of our best freshmen. So, you know, we've been down men most of the year. So just got to get back, get a little swagger to us. And I think, like I said, we can turn it like we did 2 years ago. Win the last 9 out of 11, go in, win the first round of the conference, and I really think had a shot for the championship and just called off because of COVID.
Do you feel like Tay's second half was more what you were expecting to see throughout the year from Tay? It seemed like, you know, a lot more decisive and you know, sort of exploded to the rim a lot more instead of the passive nature that we might have seen over the last few weeks during the struggles.
You know what? I think some of our problems are not court related. It's more what's that going on around all these young men, their futures, their COVID issues, just a lot of chatter, a lot of expectations. You know, you don't know how each kid, everybody treats that different, and it's a tough thing to handle and get it perfectly right. I think he's going to find himself. Tavion's a heck of a player, one of Marshall's best ever, and he'll find himself. And I don't want to the problem is you start coaching him up, whether you need to do this or coaching him up, you need to do that. What happens when you start doing that? You start thinking. And sometimes they get coached everywhere but where they should be. which is on the floor. And they start thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I should try that, or they'll think highly of me if I show them I can do this. And you start thinking on the floor, and you get indecisiveness. And he just got to play. Tavion is a heck of a player. If he goes out and plays, and some people say, well, you need to tell him not to do this or not. It's hard to pick and choose nots, because when you start doing that, then they don't know exactly when. So they start thinking, and it's not a good thing. I trust Tavion, and he'll find his way. When he does, we're going to be a heck of a ball club.
Dan, you're good.
All right, appreciate it, fellas. Cody said,
Thanks, Dan.
Cody says I'm done. That's a boss,